Hey everyone, my name is Jackson. Welcome to First Gen Hunts. If you're getting into hunting, one of the first questions you're probably going to ask is what caliber rifle should I get? And this is a big question that I think a lot of hunting influencers and people online get wrong. And it's actually one of my biggest frustrations and the reason I created this channel. So I won't hold you any longer. The three calibers I recommend is 270, 308, and 30-06. And the number one reason I recommend those three is the cost to shoot them. Most discussions about calibers revolve around things like ballistics, velocity, maximum point blank range, and a whole host of other things. For experienced shooters, this is all good and great, but for the beginner hunter, the beginner shooter, the most important thing is being able to get the bullet on the target that you're trying to hit. And you can't do that if you don't practice. And so that's where these three calibers come in. They're cheap to shoot, they're easy to find, and that allows you to practice a lot more and get good and knowledgeable about your hunting rifle so that you can actually hit the thing that you're trying to hit. At the time of recording this video, each of these calibers can be purchased for about $1.50, $1.55 per round for the 270, the 30-06, and the 308. Compare that to $2.30 for say the 300 Win Mag or the 7 Rem Mag. If you're shooting 100 rounds, this comes out to about $75 more for that 100 rounds. And I don't know about you, but if I have to spend an extra $75 to shoot or $2.30 per shot, I'm a lot less likely to go practice. Now that we've talked about price, let's talk about what makes these calibers great calibers in and of themselves. First of all, they've been around for a very long time, and a lot of the surveys I've seen have shown that these calibers are the ones that take the most elk. That'll probably change over the next 100 years, but for the last 100 years, these have been the kings, and they've killed a lot of animals. Secondly, these calibers are more than capable of taking animals at any range that a new hunter should be shooting at. I think that should be less than 300 and probably even less than 200. I'll make another video on why that is. But within this range, these calibers are more than capable. They're fast enough, they carry enough energy, and they have proper bullet design so that they can kill those animals in an ethical and clean way. When discussing terminal performance or how effectively that bullet is going to be able to kill the animal, there are two metrics that are often cited. The first is 1,500 foot-pounds of energy, and without that, a lot of hunters don't think there's going to be enough energy to open up a large enough wound channel and take that animal down. The second one is 2,000 feet per second of velocity, and below that velocity, a lot of hunters, and it depends on bullet type, but a lot of hunters don't think that bullet is going to be able to properly expand and transfer its energy into the animal, and would instead pass straight through, which would not be a very fast or ethical kill. Another reason I recommend these calibers is the recoil. Both the 270 and the 308 have a very manageable recoil of around 18 foot-pounds. The 30-06 is a little bit higher at 21 foot-pounds, but with a muzzle brake or a suppressor, you can make that a very manageable rifle. Now compare that to the 7 Rem Mag at 23 foot-pounds or the 300 Win Mag closer to 30 foot-pounds. Those are going to be some high recoiling rifles, which might cause you to develop a flinch, and you're also not going to want to practice it as much each time that rifle punches you in the shoulder. I personally developed a flinch shooting my 308, so if it happens to you, no shame, you're not alone in that. But it's going to be much easier to train out that flinch with a smaller caliber than it is going to be with one of those higher, more magnum calibers. So start with a small caliber and get good at shooting. The last reason I recommend these calibers is rifle availability and the cost of those rifles. This isn't exclusive to the three that I recommended, since the 7 Rem Mag and the 300 Win Mag have been around for a really long time as well. But it still stands that these rifles are going to be easy to find and they're going to be very cheap to purchase compared to say a 7 PRC or a 6.5 PRC or 7 Backcountry or something like that. If I had to choose between the three, my first choice would be a 270 Winchester, and if I could go back, I would buy that instead of a 308. The main reason is that smaller bullet is going to fly at a much faster speed for the same amount of recoil. The second choice would be a 308. It's still going to be very effective, not going to be too much bullet drop, and you do get that larger bullet diameter, which has more energy. My third choice would be the 30-06, mostly because of the recoil. I'd rather have a bullet that I can actually get on target than something that I'm going to miss because I'm too scared to shoot the darn thing. Now you might be wondering why I didn't include the 6.5 Creedmoor on this list, and the biggest reason is the price for ammunition. At the time of this recording, it's only $1.75 per round, which isn't that much higher than the other three that I recommended. But when my wife and I were trying to find ammunition last fall, it was $2.25 per round, which was really expensive and just not very fun purchasing it. So I'd rather buy something that I know I'm going to be able to find cheap ammo pretty much any time of the year. Thanks for watching all the way through to the end. I hope this video covered a big gap that I think a lot of other people online have missed, and namely that's the cost to shoot the round. And I hope you're convinced of why it's better to be able to practice with a rifle than it is to buy that perfect caliber and miss your target. My name is Jackson with First Gen Hunts, and don't forget, it's not easy, but the chase is worth it.